Welcome to Break Fix's Drive Thru News, your monthly recap for everything fast, fascinating, and usually four-wheeled. We're serving up a fresh batch of automotive headlines, motorsports madness, and car-adjacent curiosities, all with zero wait time and maximum flavor. From Formula One drama to concept car debuts, with garage-built legends to the quirkiest stories rolling out of the state of Florida, we've got your fix. So grab your coffee, buckle up, and let's cruise through the latest in the world of wheels, with a side of entertainment and just a dash of tire smoke.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing. I'm a little pissed off this month.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this rant.
I want to come at this episode swinging, and I want you guys to talk me off the ledge because I know we're wrapping up Car Week. We're getting ready to resume the Formula One season. August is just one of these blah kind of months. It's hot, it's gross, it's humid. Everything you can check off the list just sort of gets under your skin. But there have been so many posts this month. I have to ask you guys, is car culture dead?
We just went straight into it.
I'm coming out swinging.
Yes, car culture's dead. Car culture's been dead for a little while.
Let's walk back from that because that's the edge. That's the world is ending, the sky is falling, everything is over. Let's pack it up and sell it all and be done with it.
I believe this episode title should be Chicken Little.
Is it the end? Or are we at the beginning of something new and something different?
The end of the world as we know it.
And I feel fine.
I mean, does that make us dinosaurs? We like cars of a certain age because we feel the peak car was in the 90s going into the 2000s, that kind of stuff. Nothing is better than Volkswagen from the early 2000s. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but the point is, have we passed our prime? Not us, not you, me, and Tanya. I'm talking about cars. Car culture, has it passed its prime?
Well,
Yes.
watching the commish has taught me anything, yes.
Oh, please do fill me in because Murder, She Wrote doesn't have nearly as many cool cars.
One watches Murder, She Wrote for the guest appearances, and one watches the commish for all the German appearances.
Oh my God.
Corrados, 928s, Audi 5000s, Passats. I mean, somebody was a Volkswagen Audi enthusiast.
You remember that show Viper? It was like all the Chrysler prototypes on that show that you could think of. Stuff that they never made or they made one of was on that show.
I mean, have you ever seen a show that had a Corrado? There's been two so far.
The Gran Turismo movie.
Gran Turismo had a
Oh,
Corrado.
yeah. That's right.
His father's car. He drove his father's
Yes.
car and he
That's
went
right.
and did some nefarious stuff and then got in
That's
trouble.
right.
And, yeah.
But anyway,
Well, we haven't finished the talk about car culture.
okay. What? Tell me. Enlighten me.
Well, this is our showcase. I think this is the head of the showcase, and your Chicken Little. Car culture's dead.
It
I mean,
is.
people have been talking about how kids, like the next generations, and then the next generation after that, like fewer and fewer people are getting their license. Fewer and fewer people are driving. Fewer and fewer people are owning cars.
There's that. And then there's the advent of all the new cars all look the same. They're all blasé. You've
Yeah.
got this EV, the self-driving concept where I have a car, but it's literally becoming an appliance. And then you have this new manufacturer, no more manual, this one, no more manual. And it's like, what do we have left?
Well, some of them are no more cars.
And the subscription-based pricing for features and stuff like
That
that too.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like it's sucking the life out of it.
That's the culture that up and coming generations, that's all they know.
That's the tech bros and how they make money. That's
Yeah, they have
reality.
subscriptions for their cell phones. They don't buy anything. They lease their cell phones. They trade up every 6 months, every year when a new one comes out. Same thing with computers and iPads, and cars aren't any different.
Let's talk about the phones for a second because I had an epiphany. And I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I remember where I was. I saw a young lady bust out a flip phone.
Some people are going back to that.
But here's the deal. As much as I wax poetic about my Motorola Razr and how it was like the coolest phone and it was the best because it fit in your pocket, it was super lightweight, and the battery lasted like 3 years without charging it, the whole 9 yards, there was a lot of suck in that phone, right? But this modern flip phone, to say that, oh, I don't want to have a smartphone, watching this person use it, trying to take a picture, and I guess because we're just so accustomed to the iPhones and the Androids and whatever, I hate to say it, she looked like a doofus. You look really stupid holding up a flip phone, trying to take a picture and watching that flash come out of the hinge. I was like, what decade are we in? Like, it was so backwards. And that's when I had the epiphany that when you go around and you're driving an old car amongst all these younger folks, maybe coming into their peak earning potential, buying the Teslas, buying the new Corvettes, buying the Porsche GT3, because that's all they sell. Are you the guy with the flip phone?
Yes, in their eyes.
Yeah.
Here's the other piece of it too, to Brad's point, how people live their lives right now. That's their culture.
Yeah.
So however they view cars is now their culture. So it's like every decade's progression where back in the day that Elvis Presley rock and roll music was, the devil's hips. And oh my God, and don't let your children see it and listen to it, right? And then the next culture was like, that's crap. The next generation. I like, whatever the next hot
Disco
thing
or
is, and then
whatever,
so
yeah.
on and so on and so forth, right? So are we now those people?
Translate that thread to car culture. The generations before us, the people that owned the 60s cars and stuff like
Yeah.
that, their car culture was you go to the drag strip or you drive up and down the boulevard. You go to a car show and you set up a sign, you sit next to your car and people come out and talk to you. Our culture was more you drive the car, you did a couple stupid things, maybe a little bit of street racing, you took them to the track, did a track day. You'd go to a swap meet. You didn't really polish up the car too much because people like to see cars that were driven, kind of thing.
Mhm.
We enjoyed our cars. Now they do it for the views. They do it for the clickbait. They
For the
take pictures, they
gram.
buy these cars. They don't do anything to them. They pay somebody else to do everything to them. They get views and clickbait and everything, and that's their culture. But I think we are the dinosaurs.
Well, that's another good point because those people that are still around that grew up with those 60s, 70s muscle cars, they are still very much ingrained in their viewpoint. All them new Fern cars that were coming out, those little Japanese sports cars and these little Volkswagens were pieces of crap. And it was
Yeah.
America, horsepowers, and they probably still view it that way. That was the greatest generation of cars.
Of course, and we think peak car was our generation of cars. They probably think peak car was their generation of cars.
And those folks still control the collector market and the collector values. That's the other thing, too. You go to any auction, it just blows your mind that a Camaro from the 60s is bringing in $1 million. You're like, why?
They're also the ones that have the wealth.
Yeah.
Something that we talk about in my company, because this is something is a very real thing that we have to deal with right now, is there is a huge shift and transfer of wealth that's about to happen. As
Yes.
all those people that generated all that wealth, all those baby boomers are dying off and leaving money to the younger generations, what's going to happen with all that money? And same thing with these cars. Like, what's going to happen with these 60s Camaros and GTO Judges and 442 Cutlass Supremes and stuff? Like, what's going to happen to all these when the baby boomers that own them die and transfer them to their kids? Their kids have zero attachment to those things. They're going to flip them. They're going to sell them. They're going to dump them. They're going to make a quick buck. They're going to put it into crypto. They're going to go out. They're going to buy an R34 GTR, or they're going to buy a GT3 RS, or a right-hand drive FD, or a Mark IV Supra, or whatever. They're just going to draw. And those prices they're already inflated. They're going to inflate even further. That car culture is going to die off. And our car culture is already singing its swan song as we get older, because we all die. Well, whatever happened to the car culture of the pre-boomers? I mean, granted, cars aren't that old.
You're talking like the Packards and the Duesenbergs and all those
Yeah,
cars.
yeah,
Yeah.
My Tin Lizzie is the best.
Oh my God. Top speed 37 miles an hour.
But no, like what we don't even talk about those cars or those people anymore because they're all gone.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to happen to the muscle cars of the 60s. The same thing's going to happen to the car. Like, the Malaise era is the Malaise era. We can just skip over.
Nobody wants those. Come
But
on,
the cars of the 90s and 2000s, give it 20, 30 years when all of us start dying off, if we're lucky enough to live that long, nobody will talk about the Mark IV Volkswagen, the 1.8T hero cars. It's just not going to happen.
Dude, that pains me too, because I still see these groups online that are taking 20th anniversary cars and R32s, original R32s, and just stripping them down and basically throwing them away. And I'm like, well, I guess that means the value of all the ones that are left just goes through the roof, which was the same problem with the 914 community where they were junking them and racing them and trashing them. And then they were like, oh, nobody wants these cars. They're crap. And then now you can't get into a 914 for less than 100 grand if you want a nice one. You know what I mean? It's craziness. So I agree with you there. But to dive into the showcase, Tanya brought an article that I think talks about the first part of this conversation, which is digging in your heels and staying in your lane and staying in your generation of cars. So Tanya, you want to talk about this particular article from the Wall Street Journal?
It was something about this guy not wanting to buy new cars because he wanted low tech cars, but the cars he was looking at, if I recall, they were still in like it was in the 2000s or 10s, I don't remember, but it wherever it was with a year starting with a 2, it was still in a window of time where there was tech in the cars. And I was like, bro, if you're really trying to go techless, you need to go another decade backwards. You still have a lot of tech, even in a mid 2000s, 2010s era car, still have a lot of tech in them. You still have backup cameras and this, that, and the other. If you want to eliminate all that, you're going earlier.
We've obviously surpassed it, but I feel like there was a sweet spot where there
Yes.
was enough tech to make driving still fun, still convenient. Like you bring up the point about the backup camera, it's very effective, it's very helpful. There was a point where the harmony between cars and technology was pretty much perfect.
2008. That's the year.
Yeah, because that was when I think that's when backup cameras were mandated as standard equipment, right?
Certain cars had Bluetooth and a lot of them still didn't yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's in that range, and it's in that time window where the nannies were really primitive, so they stayed out of your way so you could still drive the cars. But once you got to 2010, 2014, you saw the end of that. That was like the stretched it out. Some of those
Yeah.
cars were still kind of in that sweet spot. But really 2008, I kind of dug back into this, is really the year where things changed.
That was the sweet spot. That was a perfect harmony between automotive excellence and technology, up and coming technology on the rise, but it didn't interfere with the driver,
Right.
and you could still enjoy the car. You could still enjoy the features that the car had. You were still in control of the car. It wasn't signaling back to Big Brother
Yeah.
the mischief that you were committing in your car and all that. Gone are those days. I understand the want to drive cars with fewer and fewer technology. There wasn't, I don't agree with zero technology whatsoever, because I do feel there was that sweet spot where you could have your cake and you could eat it too. A problem I think about often, especially with the fact that I just bought a 25-year-old car, is parts availability.
Yeah.
You brought up a great point about how people are dismantling and destroying and disassembling these what we thought were collector cars, like
Right.
the original Mark IV R32, the 20th anniversaries, just to stick in the Volkswagen lane. You know, people are dismantling them like they're Toyota Corollas, like
Yep.
they have zero value whatsoever, which is making it even more difficult in the future to be able to find parts for these cars, which makes it harder to keep them on the road. And the other piece that we haven't even talked about yet is government oversight.
Yeah.
The government wants you driving the newer cars with the newer technology because they can track you. They've got systems in place to monitor you and see what you're doing, see where you're going, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I think it's going to get to a point, especially with the current landscape, they're just going to make driving all cars before a certain age illegal.
Yeah.
If they can't track you because they don't, it doesn't have XYZ, or, I mean, I'm probably tinfoil hat theory here now or whatever, but not necessarily wrong.
No, but then it becomes like that movie we reviewed, The Last Chase, right? Where he buried his car underground. And then when the apocalypse came, they couldn't track him because he was in a, 917
Well,
Chevron thing.
they wouldn't. I think it's too extreme probably to say that they'd ban them, but
I don't know.
they'd probably make it, well, if people play by the rules, everything's historic and you can only drive it on a weekend and you can only drive
Yeah.
it to a show and you can only drive it 2,000 miles a year. And so then it just becomes a paperweight in your driveway.
Think about what's going on in California with the tires. We talked about
Yeah.
it last episode. But I think they actually passed the law. I don't know if it's fully in effect yet or not, or if it's got to get past the state senate or whatever, but they're trying to pass that law to mandate that you can only buy a certain kind of tire, which makes like 75% of the tire market illegal. All they have to do is make it illegal, and then we can't drive our cars anymore,
Yeah, it's craziness.
which may be extreme, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
So, like I said, there's two sides to this conversation. The one side is those of us are digging in our heels and we want our old cars and want to keep our old cars going. I mean, we sound just like the baby boomers, right? I want to drive my 57 Chevy, even though it's LS swapped and it's all good, that kind of thing. But on the other side of the coin, you said, Brad, people trying to hit that nostalgic nerve there, try to get people excited. And then there's companies like Ford that comes up with this. Just like the Mach-E, I don't want to call this a Mustang. This is quote unquote the Mach 4 sedan. And this is how Ford is going to be getting back into cars, says the headline from Motor Trend.
If they just made it two doors, that's not even bad looking.
It looks like an Aston with a Mustang nose on it.
If they just made it two doors, it would just be a fucking Mustang.
Exactly.
Ah!
So to Tanya's point, I actually don't think it's a bad looking car. I think it's a very good looking car. Where I have issue is that they keep beating a dead horse and putting the Mustang nameplate on cars that it does not belong on.
On everything.
I'm okay with it even just being called the Ford Mach 4. Call it a Mach 4. Do not call it a Mustang. Call the Mach-E whatever the fuck you want. It's great. Call it a Pinto. I don't care. It's not a Mustang. Don't call it a Mustang.
I'll agree. Styling wise, I like it. I wouldn't call it a Mustang. I don't know what to call it at this point. Let's just stick with the Mach 4. But if you're okay with this, Brad, you being a former Camaro guy, are you okay with this?
Thank God that's just a rendering. It looks just like a Mustang.
And they're saying that the next Camaro might be a four-door. So where Ford goes, Chevy follows, right?
Again, don't call it a Camaro. Call it a Caprice. I don't know. Call it an HHR. I don't care. Don't call it a Camaro. There are some names, some badges
that are sacred.
That mean something. The Mustang, the Camaro, Corvette. Germany, they all use numbers and letters because, they don't know how to formulate words. So the 911, the M3, whatever, I don't know, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But yeah, don't call it a Camaro.
Yeah.
Don't call it a Mustang.
Now, if we keep it in this two-door shape, this looks better than the current Camaro. I will say that.
Well, there is no current Camaro. They don't make it anymore, right?
The last generation Camaro, the most current ZL1 that was produced, however many years ago or whatever. So I like it. I think it looks good. It begs the question if there is room at the table in 2026 and beyond for muscle cars. And we're going to touch on this again as we go on, because muscle car culture is a whole nother thing, pulling on those nostalgic heartstrings there with those types of cars. So I want to come back to that. We're going to put a pin in that for just a second. Tanya mentioned it before.
Integra.
The Integra. Honda is halting the manual Civic Si and the Integra A-Spec. So just to add more fuel to that fire, even the Japanese are deleting the manual transmissions. We know Toyota's been working on that fake manual transmission for a while. There's rumors about Subaru coming back with manuals. They already got rid of those. If it's no good for the Germans, because they've declared no more manuals as of the end of this year, so Honda's getting in the... So who's going to have a manual left? Anybody? Nobody.
Subaru.
They don't count. They have a class action lawsuit and all sorts of dumb stuff going on. You sure they're even going to be in business?
So I want to see, is there an actual link for this article? Because I want to see the reasoning behind why they're halting it.
Just ask Gemini.
So it says that they are pausing the production of the manual transmission versions of the Civic Si and Acura Integra after the 2026 model year, driven by upcoming shifting EPA emissions regulations and certification rules for 2027 and later models. Honda intends to bring the manual powertrains back once regulations clear up, potentially around 2028.
Lies.
So
Lies.
it says temporary. So basically, the laws have changed. They need to reconstruct the manual transmission to fit with the new laws.
I think the Japanese have the same problem that the Germans have, but not as bad. They don't know how to gear their manual transmissions. The Americans, it's like double, triple overdrive. You're doing 1,500 RPM and a four-banger at 80 miles an hour. The Germans, it's like 4,000 RPM, 80 miles an hour, must be at maximum 1-to-1 ratio of speed always. Ah! And the cars are like burning themselves out. And it's like, gear them down so they get better mileage. A long time ago, manuals were more efficient than automatics are. I think the automatics today are a lot better than the old slush boxes that we're used to. So is there an advantage? Probably not, but I like having three pedals.
True. But I also think, given the initial part of the showcase talking about car culture and is car culture dead? I believe the manual transmission is a part of our car culture, and
Exactly.
our car culture is dying. So it makes sense that it would go that way. You already just pointed out that
But wouldn't the kids that are buying the flip phones want to drive a manual transmission car?
they're doing it ironically, but the problem is
Ah,
who's going to teach them that skill to do it?
there you go. All right.
And where are they going to buy if there's no manual
Chat
transmission?
GPT will teach you how to drive a manual transmission, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna put Chat GPT right seat. I'm gonna put my computer there. And he's like, okay, how do I do this? Okay, Brad, here's what you do.
Stalled out 12 times. You're doing great,
Yeah,
but this is what you really need to do.
you push it to the dealership and swap it for an automatic. That's how
pretty
you do
much.
it. So I think it's just another part of our car culture that's dying.
Well, you got to look at where populations are too, because sitting in constant traffic, crawling, what do you need a manual for?
It's a purist thing that we're trying to hold on to because it's fun. Personally, given the way technology has changed so much, there are no practical reasons really right now to have a manual transmission.
They're definitely no fun at the track. I have not been in an automatic that has been fun like ever.
For your
Right.
daily driving, there's no advantage to a manual.
That's very true. This next one, I want to talk about it with respect to car culture because normally we would have reserved this for rich people things. And this is the Luce. We talked about this. We ranted about this. We made fun of this. Everybody doesn't like this from what I understand. According to the headlines, Ferrari has hit its sales target with these things. I think I know how. But I just want you guys to gut reaction. Like they're actually selling these pieces of crap?
Because there's a shoe for every foot.
Is that what it is?
I was going to say they must be using the same data that Tesla uses when they, announce their sales figures.
Or they only made one. So remember, we have to hit our sales targets, right?
They made one, they sold one, the job done.
They sold one to this guy. They sold one to Dr. Herbert Herbie Wertheim for $40 million. That's Luce number 0. So all the ones that we've seen pictures of, this guy bought it for 40 million bucks.
You know what's funny? I thought that was Bernie Ecclestone.
Willie Nelson,
Yes.
but sober.
What I've come to find out is that this is the second time this gentleman has made, quote, a donation to Ferrari. He bought an SP3 last year for $26 million.
Who is this? I would like to have
This is Herbie.
This
This is Herbie. He's like 100,000 years old.
I would like to have this kind of no fucks money.
He is a famed optometrist, philanthropist, billionaire inventor. Okay, anyway, so he buys a SP3 for 26 million last year. The money goes to the Ferrari Foundation. He buys Luce number 0 for $40 million. The money goes to the Ferrari Foundation. I don't think he took delivery of these cars. From what I come to understand, he's not actually a Ferrari collector. So what I'm thinking is, tell me how to launder money without telling me how to launder money. You know what I thought of? Because people were talking about this and how crazy it is. Ferrari Formula One cannot take a donation. They have to have a sponsor that is that. This guy isn't going to sponsor Ferrari Formula One. But if he makes a donation to the foundation and the money finds its way to the Formula One, because what is Ferrari going to use the $40 million for? Are they in that much debt?
Well, I would think with the name like Ferrari Foundation, it should be a non-profit, so they should be using it for non-profit things.
Lies. It's all lies. Lies. Let's just say the X amount, we don't know how many of these Luces that they're supposed to make at $850,000 a piece. If they've allegedly met their sales targets, and Ferrari has that weird Ponzi scheme where you got to buy in at certain levels to get accepted to the bigger levels. And then when you get to the big levels, then you can get to the really extreme stuff.
They're like Fabletics.
Yeah, right. So you're telling me, let's say there's 100 of these things, other than the one that they sold, I think is the only one that they made. There's 100 people out there that have put down 850 grand on that.
So Whistling Diesel probably will.
Has he got that kind of money?
Definitely.
The Stig mentioned him recently talking about how he should have been one of the people that go on the new Top Gear. I was like, no way.
I would watch that.
What?
But he's too crass.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not professional enough.
So sticking with Ferrari, I got $850,000 burning a hole in my pocket. I'm going to go buy that toaster instead of buying this if they make it. They unveiled this during Monterey Car Week. This is the Ferrari CZ26, and it looks like an SF90 and a Luce had a baby. So is this what Ferrari was actually intending on making the whole time, but it wasn't ready yet? So they had to come up with that other thing? Look at that. That looks good. This looks like a Ferrari. You can't tell me that this is electric.
I mean, it looks like a modern Ferrari.
But it looks like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Unlike the Luce, which I don't even want to burn my retinas with looking at again.
What does Luce translate to?
Light.
Light. Okay.
Ugh.
Wanted to make sure it didn't translate to like stupid American or something like that.
Only in dialect.
Yes.
All right. At the same time, we're talking about $40 million, Luce Zeros and $850,000 for this. And there's the CZ26 and blah, blah. And then we got the Temerario Lamborghini coming out, which looks like an insect. There's also reports from the Drive talking about how the luxury market is crumbling from the top down. Now, I want to, again, car culture. Words are really important. What does luxury mean to you?
Generally, that would be something, and I don't even know if that's true anymore. I guess it still is like a Lexus or Mercedes.
Lexus, Mercedes, BMW,
luxury.
Bentley, Rolls-Royce.
Used to be Aston Martin as well. Luxury.
Aston Martin would be in there, yeah.
No, I don't think a Lamborghini is a luxury car. I think it's a supercar.
Yeah, supercar brand, yeah.
Every car on this, except for this Rolls and the Bentley that they showed, are all hypercars or sports cars of some point. 911, Mercedes SLS, even these Maseratis. These are not luxury cars.
I would consider Maserati a luxury brand.
Yeah, but the cars that they're showing are their sports cars, right? It's not like the big quattroporte, limousine of a car that you're going to drive around. But the Valhalla, like, come on, that's no. Is the hypercar market collapsing? Sure, because who's going to go out and spend $1 million on a car that they can't drive? By the way, this Rolls Royce down here, this was used on Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm. His buddy Barney drives one of these. It's actually really cool looking. It's got suicide doors. They open the opposite way, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a nice looking car.
See, but that's a luxury car.
I feel like this should go under rich people things.
100%. But I just wanted to bring it up because we were talking about rich people things. But I want to move on from that because we always have to segue into Volkswagen because they have lost their mind. But this actually dovetails right out of our showcase. And I don't know if you guys watched this video, but what is the fascination with OEM Plus? What is OEM Plus? Is this a new car culture thing? Like, I feel when the kids say words, slang that I've never heard before, like OEM Plus, what does that mean?
My guess is it's OEM with a mod or two.
Was it like HBO Max, Paramount Plus? Like, is that the plus part? I could look at this different ways, and Tanya and I talked about this. The more of these that pop up with this OEM Plus stuff, and it's very much in the Volkswagen community right now, because the Volkswagen community is not the same as it was when we were young. But then again, if we look back, maybe we were silly like them too. I don't know. Basically, it's like, hey, I got a Beetle like yours, Brad, and I'm going to put a Mark 6 steering wheel in it. Boom! OEM Plus.
So is OEM Plus just changing one or two things, or is it upgrading from one OEM part to an OEM part from another car? Because that's what you just described.
All of the
The
above.
goal to make a vehicle look, feel, and perform better using subtle upgrades that look like they came straight from the factory.
Okay, so that's kind of how I like to do cars in the first place.
You're an OEM Plus guy?
I mean, I wouldn't call it something as stupid as OEM Plus. But yeah, I like subtle, tasteful mods. Now, I also want something bonkers and completely crazy and out of this world, but I'm on an OEM Plus budget.
And I think when we were younger, we called it bolt-ons, right?
Yes.
And some of it was, okay, I bought a base GTI and then they came out with the 20th and they didn't tell anybody that they were coming out. And it's like, oh man, I really want that black headliner or I want those seats or whatever. And you would find it, like you said, at a swap meet from somebody that wrecked their car or took it apart or decided to put race seats in there. We were OEM plussing 30 years ago.
So you just weren't cool enough to know the term, because according to Autoblog, the term OEM Plus originated organically within the late 90s and early 2000s car enthusiast communities, particularly the Volkswagen, Audi, and BMW tuning scenes.
Did you hear me throw up in the back of my throat a little bit?
So
I think we can gloss over all the rest of that and just focus on BMW tuning scene.
There you go. There's that too.
Yeah, they're trying to lump Volkswagen into that, but no, I mean, Eric and I and you, Tanya, we've been members of the Volkswagen scene for the better part of 30 years.
just nobody apparently was widely calling this, because roots and evolution of the style. Does this not describe the VW Audi subculture? Early Euro tuning scenes popularized taking base model Golfs or Jettas and upgrading them using rare parts from European spec variants or high performance factory models, like adding Audi or GLI parts.
But did anybody call it OEM Plus?
No.
Allegedly, the term was there, but no one knew about it because nobody had the internet. So it was two people saying it in a back corner somewhere
behind the Dairy Queen. So a flag on the play, because this is the problem with the internet rewriting history at any given moment.
Could be that too.
You could write a blog tomorrow and say blah, blah, blah. And people go, oh, yeah. That must be true. That's how it was done.
This strikes me as a journalist or somebody tried to coin a term. It didn't go well. And now he's got a voice because of the social media and the internet. I'm going to create this term and I'm going to make it cool.
Or you just see everything that's trending on Instagram and you spin a tale and put some history behind it. And then suddenly people take it as gospel. We're rewriting everything all the time. Thanks, Chad.
I'm going to pose a question to the listeners. Have you ever used the term or heard somebody that you know use the term OEM Plus before this episode airs?
I think you're going to get a big old negatory there, my man.
Yeah, true.
I will say it's not new to the year 2026, though. At least dates back to last year, because there is and this is a reputable source, a Euro tuning news article dated in a year ago, actually. What are OEM Plus mods?
See, I think it was a year ago, but if your source is Urban Dictionary, and that's a whole nother thing too, right?
Just to pull on this thread a little bit further, Volkswagen community is not the first people that were doing that. I mean, people back in the 60s, I hate to keep going back to that generation, but people back in the 60s were buying, the cheapest model Charger or whatever that they could get, GTO or whatever, and they were taking the bits from the Judge or from the Scat Pack or whatever,
right,
the 454s and stuff, and putting them on their cars. What were they calling it back then? Another question for the listening community. I don't remember, but I guarantee they didn't call it OEM Plus, but I'm sure they had a term for it.
They're called mods.
I always called it bolt-ons.
Or mods. You're just
modding.
Mods, right?
I'm modding my car with bolt-ons.
To your point about the old guys, they were hot rodders, right? They were hot rods.
Yeah, they were souping up.
They were souping it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, look at this. We are peeling the onion back here. I have found an Urban Dictionary entry from 2016.
She looked up shrimping. Tanya, that's inappropriate for this episode.
They were talking OEM Plus back in 2016 at least. So we're going back in time here. We're slowly peeling the layers to see where this originated from.
Who was?
Somebody on Urban Dictionary.
The same guy that wrote the wiki entry for it, right?
Yeah, when does it say that entry was created in August 2026?
Yeah, right.
February 28th, 2016.
Uh-huh. OEM Plus. Wow, look at that. Well,
it sounds so elegant.
Yeah, right. It sounds very, very posh.
I'm gonna get an OEM Plus badge for the Beetle.
Can I get an OEM negative? Like throwing stuff away that was factory part. I'm gonna put that on the race cars. I'm OEM negative. I threw all the garbage away.
You're always so negative. You simplified and added lightness.
And that's the Lotus way.
Okay, wait. OEM, that's kind of funny.
OEM negative?
Yeah.
Dude, we should start posting on Instagram about how we're OEM negative.
What's your car type? Oh, I'm OEM negative. Oh, I'm OEM positive.
But then you could be like, look at what I threw away. Look at this garbage the factory made that was completely pointless. like the emission system on a Mark IV, that you don't need that to go racing. That's for sure.
Your OEM carbon footprint.
OEM negative. What's up? Anyway, let's stay on this Volkswagen thread for a second because, again, with the guise of car culture, I think this is what's wrong with modern cars and modern car culture. If you watch this video, this gentleman goes through the process of basically reformatting his transmission. I don't know what else to call it. It was like a complete wipe and restart, and he goes through this whole procedure, and he's like, feel a slight lag or jerking from your trans. And I'm like, DSG and all these modern transmissions shouldn't have these kinds of problems.
Well, it's a Volkswagen.
Well, yes. And then we got the Kool-Aid rant from certain loyalists in our organization that are just like, but this is the way, and this is this, and trying to justify. And I'm just like, no.
I'm honestly still confused. I don't know enough about automatic transmission vehicles, but this boggles my mind. The argument being that the car's learning how you drive. So if you drive aggressively and it's shifting faster, then it will just shift faster at all times. I'm sorry, that's stupid programming because the car should know how I'm driving at all times and modify how the car shifts based on that because there's real-time data and it should be able to trend and forecast what you're doing. So just because 2 minutes ago I did a burnout off the line to smoke somebody and it banged through the gears, it doesn't mean 2 miles later when I'm just cruising that it should still be banging through the gears if it sees your acceleration at a certain curve.
No, I agree 1,000%. And even older ECUs and transmission modules could figure this stuff out. And with the advanced computers that are in cars now, I mean, maybe they need AI.
If it's true that that's how Volkswagen transmissions are programmed, wow, that's dumb.
No, or they're Terminators. Remember the Terminator? I'm a learning computer.
But then again, you're not very good at it then.
No.
Because learning, you should be adapting continuously to how I'm driving and matching what I'm doing. Like you would do if you had a manual transmission, because you wouldn't just, some tool bags would, but if you're just cruising around, you wouldn't be like, bang, second, bang, third. I'm doing 25 miles an hour. Like, really?
I knew a guy who had a Mark III VR6 Jetta who would never take it out of fourth gear because he liked the way it pulled all the time. So he would never put it in fifth. I was like, you're out of your freaking mind. What are you doing? He was OEM negative as well.
I feel like there's a problem and this person needs to, should be a recall of these transmissions if that's out there. That'll be the next news article is the big, massive recall on shitty transmissions from Volkswagen.
Well, that's okay because it's not going to matter because, again, from Motor One confirming that Volkswagen is about to kill roughly half of its lineup.
It's already killed like half its staff, so.
Yeah, that's true. And, we talked about this the last time, so I don't want to beat this one down again, but I did post on our Discord. I was like, hey, I would love to find the truth to this because they mentioned a press release in a worrying press release issued just minutes ago, written like Dan Rather in the 80s or something here, like Walter Cronkite, the end of the world. And there is exactly here. The executive board presents a future plan for Volkswagen. And inside of this, they outline how they're going to streamline by 50% and reduce this and that and do here and do there. And it's all very technical and German and whatever, but it's all there in black and white from Volkswagen as to what they plan to do for at least the short-term future. So maybe it's not a complete flag on the play.
Well, because they'll cut half the workforce because they have AI now.
Is that what they're using to program those transmissions? Because
ChatGPT, set my transmission to harsh shifting, please.
Oh my God. And in 20 seconds, reset it back to regular. But that's okay because Audi says that their operating profits are holding steady despite a challenging first half of the year. Lies. I don't know how their operating profits are holding anything with Formula One. They suck so bad. Not as bad as Aston and Cadillac.
They aren't the worst.
But they're pretty bad.
Solidly in the middle.
We're going to talk about that during our stupid show name.
Everything is great over at Volkswagen, okay? Everything is wonderful. Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Exactly. When you're still part of the team, it's all good when you still work there. I bring this up, and this should be rich people things, but I have to bring it up in this section because people might not know that things are so awesome at Volkswagen. I'm going to mention it again, that they divested Bugatti and Rimac, and they've scuttled a bunch of other stuff. And in the midst of all that, they made this thing. So what do we think of the Bugatti Bolide on steroids? This is I can't even pronounce this French word, so I'm going to stick with Bolide.
It's not a French word.
How do you pronounce that then?
Well, it means fireball.
Does it?
Destrier?
Destrier? I don't know how to pronounce. Wow.
Destrier?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant bolide.
No, this.
Oh, I didn't look at that. I didn't read that far.
It's like literally the second half of the first sentence.
That also is steed.
It is got quad exhaust pipes coming out the back like the Batmobile. But here's the problem. I don't like the front. In profile, it looks good. In the back, it looks like something from Lego. In the front, it looks like a carp. This is a Pokemon. Look at the steering wheel.
What is that?
Liberace's hot tub. That's what this is.
So in this smaller view of it, that looks like a cross-sectional area that you dissected a human and you're seeing like the muscular fibers and everything. That's the heinous interior.
I mean, I'm sure these are all renderings. I mean, this is a little Knight Rider-ish going on here. I mean, I saw the Bolide when I was at Le Mans in 23 and they ran it on track to kind of show it off and everything. Obviously, it's a little more subdued than this. It looked more like a Veyron Chiron than it did like this. But there's aspects of this that I really like. And then there's things about it I just absolutely hate.
I mean, who's buying this? The luxury car market's collapsing.
Well, that was my next point. So if that's true, what they're saying, and this is considered a luxury car, why are they even bothering to build this? And now Bugatti's on its own. So how long are they going to last building stuff like this that nobody can afford?
Maybe they're using Home Depot parts.
Hey now. That's reserved for a different car manufacturer. So earlier I mentioned the Camaro and the Mustang potentially being four doors. And then I also said to you, Brad, is there room in 2026 for muscle cars in today's car culture? We're going to put air quotes around car culture. And Stellantis has answered the call yet again.
The call nobody made.
Look at this.
What the fuck is that?
This is the worst badge engineering I've ever seen. So it's the Charger Super B 6-pack. And if you know anything about the 6-pack from back in the day.
Yeah, it was a 6-barrel carb, right?
Correct. What is it? Triple Hollies or whatever. I'm not a hot rod guy, so I'm going to get pounced on for this. But the point is the 6-pack was all about carburation of the engine. So this is called the 6-pack because it's a twin turbo 6-cylinder making 600 horsepower. It's all the sixes, you see. Today's episode is brought to you by the number 6 and the color chartreuse.
I thought it was because it came with a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer, because that's the clientele that they're
Well,
aiming.
that's the car culture today. Yes, I would agree. I mean, can you call a twin turbo 6-cylinder hurricane powered Charger a muscle car anymore? Like, what defines a muscle car? It's got to be a V8 rear wheel drive, right?
It's a good question. Everybody's got their own definition.
Hold on, because I'm going to draw you a parallel. In the olden times, when we roamed the earth as dinosaurs, there were the Camaros and the Mustangs and all the other pony cars and all that stuff of our, the Fox bodies and, all that kind of stuff.
Which are Camaro Mustangs.
But then you had the AMG Mercedes, which everybody went, man, those are some German muscle cars. And then you had the Bankers hot rods, like, the big Lincolns and stuff like that with the big V8s, and the Marauders and all these other cars that existed that were out there. But you always knew what a muscle car was. V8 rear wheel drive.
It was huge displacement.
Well, yeah, and huge displacement. Exactly. Like 9.2 liters that makes, 250 horsepower or whatever.
But you're right. It was huge displacement V8s. Like that was.
Yeah, like the Australian Holdens and the Monaros and all that stuff, right? What I'm getting at is BMW never had a muscle car until they put a V8 in the M3. Didn't come but just maybe 15, 20 years ago. So what I'm getting at is this new Charger with a 6-cylinder turbo is stepping down and is akin to a 6-cylinder BMW turbo, which is a real thing now, right? Because there really isn't a V8 M3 anymore. So is the M3 now a muscle car with a 6-cylinder? It was always a 6-cylinder. And there's plenty of other 6-cylinder cars. Would you consider Mark IV Supra? Would you consider that a muscle car?
I don't think you can consider anything other than American cars muscle cars. I think a hallmark trait that has lingered is that these cars can only go in a straight line. And a German V8 car can corner.
Except for an AMG Mercedes, they can't corner.
They're more of a sports car.
According to Gemini, a muscle car is an American-made two-door or mid-size coupe equipped with a massive high-displacement engine, usually a V8 in parentheses, built for explosive, to Tanya's point, straight line acceleration at an affordable price.
Ah, there's the extra part. It's not that luxury car like we were talking about earlier.
No, it's got the engine power is usually a powerful V8, drivetrain typically rear-wheel drive, body style generally two-door hardtops or coupes with aggressive, bold styling, strictly for raw power and speed in a straight line.
Also, did anybody notice these pictures? Probably AI generated. Some of them are two-door and some of them are four-door.
Well, because one's a Charger and the other's a Charger Plus.
OEM Plus is what it is.
OEM Plus. Yeah, my Plus is two more doors.
So I will say this. Of all the interiors we've looked at probably in the last 6 months on cars that we bring up on this show, this has the nicest interior. I like the way this looks.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I actually really like the interior of the Destrier. The Destrier interior.
Of the Bugatti?
The one
Yeah.
I said looked like it was like an autopsy in there.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
terrible.
Hey, maybe that plays into like my love for horror movies, but
There you go.
There's obviously a bridge between muscle car, supercar, hypercar, because, when during our days, supercars were the top of the line, right? F40, the 959, the XJ220, the Countach, the Diablo, those were supercars. There wasn't such thing as a hypercar like that Bugatti that we talked about earlier. And then below supercars were sports cars, so on down the line. I don't know where this one sits, but still in the Stellantis camp. I love the headline here. Maserati realized nobody wants quiet supercars, and now it wants its V8 back. And Maserati's also considering putting a manual back in their car.
But you know what Maserati hasn't figured out yet?
How to sell cars?
Nobody wants a Maserati.
Yes. The value on these will plummet immediately, just like all the rest of them.
Yes.
It is not bad looking, though.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Maseratis are always seen as just like the redheaded stepchild of the Ferrari world.
They are a bargain basement Ferrari because oftentimes they have Ferrari engines in them. Now, granted, you've got all the rest of the Alfa Romeo Fiat stuff going on with it, but I met some people this summer who have his and hers Maseratis, and they're like, they're really not that bad. They're easy to work on. The parts are inexpensive. And I'm like,
What?
these are some bargain basement cars.
Are they inexpensive because these people are in an economic bracket where it is inexpensive to them, or are they really inexpensive?
I wasn't going to pry, but that thought did cross my mind.
We talked about this when we talked about F1 and how there's such a disparity between the teams and everything.
Yes.
And I brought up, I think, the unpopular opinion that some teams just deserve to die off. And I think I used Williams as an example. As a team that, yes, it's got great racing heritage, great history. They were champions at one point, but for many, many recent years, they proved to be back of the pack, before we added more back markers. I was of the opinion that they should just go away.
Yeah.
You can't compete. You don't belong to be there, heritage or not. I feel the same way about Maserati as just a car company in general. Yes, it's got a great heritage. It's got a lot of enthusiasts for cars that they used to make. If they can't sell cars, now's the time to find a different business, because if you can't sell cars, you don't deserve to be a car company. And yes, I feel that way about Volkswagen too, as much as it pains me to say. If Volkswagen can't make cars that people want to buy and they start to die, then they need to die.
So there's a definite distinction between the circus that is Stellantis trying to keep all of those plates spinning on little poles that they have, because they have these little fiefdoms everywhere, right? It's Fiat doing its own thing, and Ferrari's doing its own thing, and Maserati's doing its own thing, and nobody talks to anybody because it's all Italian histrionics and there's hands flying everywhere and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just leave that where it is. And then they added the French cars to the mix too to make things even more interesting. The Germans just think they know everything and that they know what the market wants. That's been Volkswagen's problem for 50 years. They never bring the cars people want because they don't think those people are going to buy them. So they give us a bunch of junk like rental quality Passats that people bought because they were like, well, it's this or a Nissan Altima. So maybe I'll try the Passat instead because I've had an Altima before. But again, they're in a position even now where they're like, this is the Volkswagen you should be driving. And everybody goes, no, I want a manual transmission GTI that doesn't suck oil and burn its rings and need a walnut treatment every 30,000 miles. Where are the cars of yesteryear? Well, we don't make those anymore. We make electric buses that no one gives two figs about. It's like, come on.
I know I threw out the dig about Volkswagen, but to get back to Maserati, let me ask you a question. It's kind of a hypothetical, but I think I already know the answer. Speaking about Maserati and their racing heritage and their desirability, Can you name one person that had a poster of a Maserati on their wall when you were a kid?
No, no.
Maserati is the Oldsmobile of the Ferrari ecosphere. Tell me I'm wrong. They are the Oldsmobile, they're the Buick, they're the not quite
Yes.
the
Okay.
top, kind of under the radar, but some people want them because their dad had them and they were good cars, but majority of the people don't even know they exist.
And I've often argued that Alfa Romeo is the Italian BMW, right? Where they make a car for everybody because every 10 minutes they're changing their design, which
Right.
is my question to you. If this Maserati that we're talking about was wearing an Alfa Romeo badge and was painted red, would it change your mind? Not doing anything else but changing the logos, would you suddenly say, "Ooh, that car's really cool"?
I mean, I think it's cool as a Maserati. To answer your direct question, yeah, I would say, does it make it more desirable? Maybe. Does it make it less desirable? No. I mean, the fact that it's a Maserati it's irrelevant. A cool car is a cool car. I feel like Maserati as a company doesn't really need to exist, to your point, because it could be sold as an Alfa Romeo. It
Thank
doesn't
you.
need to be sold as a Maserati. The Maserati is hanging on to something that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And they do not need to be around. I feel if Stellantis really wanted to make a wise business decision, they would get rid of Maserati and rebrand whatever, which they're already doing anyway, because Maserati, for the most part, most of their cars are something else rebranded, rebadged. Just get rid of the Maserati nameplate.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I don't care. The new generation doesn't care.
Yeah. Fold them up under Alfa Romeo and call it a
Exactly.
day.
Just all Maseratis are Alfa Romeos now.
Done.
I guarantee nobody would notice if the Maserati Levante or
Oh
the
my God.
Ghibli, which is the Dodge Charger, disappeared and you never saw one again. The only car that anybody would miss is the GT,
That's true.
the Gran Turismo, which could be an Alpha.
You know who might miss it? This guy might miss it. Oh, we can't not talk about domestic cars and take a visit over to General Motors. I didn't understand this article. Tanya, you read it. You sent it to me. I read it. I still don't understand it. I read it multiple times. What is our leader trying to say? Is he taking a dig at General Motors?
Uh, it has to do with his seemingly infatuation with small cars and the Kei car thing, right? And so trying to tell them, I guess, they make cars that are too big.
Well, yeah, and he's quoted as saying, "Your company, Mary, if you want it, I mean, you have the choice. It's tiny, little, beautiful car. I'm not sure you'd want to get hit by one of your Silverados, okay, or one of your Cadillacs, but you make him as safe as possible, right? You put a cocoon. You put like a little cocoon around him. See, I would have been a wonderful automobile designer." Like, this is absolute gibberish. Even the most hallucinogenic AI wouldn't come up with stuff like this. He is making a point that if you have seen the latest Silverado or the latest Escalade or just about anything that General Motors is making, if you painted them in camouflage, I would just say, yeah, those are military vehicles because they're massive. They're absolutely huge. They look like they're, remember we talked about that Silverado that ran over the Lamborghini because she didn't even see the guy. Now, granted, that was a brodozer, but the point is, they're just big from the factory. So yeah, if I was driving a Kei car, a little Daihatsu or something, or a cappuccino, I mean, no, I would not want to get hit by a Cadillac or a Silverado. So Brad, I want to revisit something from last month. We were talking about Subaru. Would you buy an STI if they did this, this, and this versus a Golf R versus a GR Corolla versus a Mazda 3 Speed? We kind of like racked them all up. And you said at the end of the day, your wallet dictated the answer. Your heart says you want a Golf R, but your wallet says, I have a beer budget and I'm going to take the Corolla because it's $25,000 cheaper. What if I told you that the GR Corolla now clocks in at $64,360?
No, thank you.
Would you still choose this over the Golf?
Read what this says. $64,000 for a Corolla with no rear seats, no extra horsepower. So I could just buy a base one for less and take the seats out myself?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand this. The last part, 730 reasons it'll sell out immediately.
Because they're only making 730 of them.
Okay, well, that's just a stupid line. But they followed the Porsche model where they take things away and charge more for the car. This is basically the Corolla version of a GT3 RS.
Yes. You got it.
No, when they first came out with the hatch, they had that, and it was the same thing. It was a racetrack ready. It had no back seats. I think it had a half cage in the back, and that was it. And it was sold for, I think at that time it was, because it was already a couple of years ago, it was like 50 something thousand dollars. But inflation, so we're at 64.
They're doubling down, Tanya. They're doubling down. OEM negative.
Oh, this is OEM negative. They took stuff out of it.
It's OEM negative. They stole Eric's idea. They went full OEM negative.
Oh man, see? Toyota always, always at the front end of creative thinking.
Except those were the same ones that you took to the track and the motors blew up.
Yeah, and they weren't covered under warranty.
All right. Subaru. Oh my God, Subaru. They are getting into the game. Monthly fees for remote starting your car. Shouldn't remote start at this point, especially if you have an automatic? Remote start is like power windows. I mean, it should just be part of the car, standard option.
From what I saw with like Lexus and I think maybe Mazda as well, I feel like it's a little misleading. It's not for like remote start completely, and please jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's for the app that allows you to remote start from your phone. I feel like if you have a remote, you can still remote start, in that closed system. But if you want the convenience of the app on your phone to do remote start and various other things, I know Lexus does it this way. You have to pay for the app, and there's a subscription for the app. I don't know if it's for remote start altogether.
It takes longer to do the stuff from your phone, especially after you've used your PIN. Your phone says, oh, it was offloaded because you haven't used it in 10 minutes. Got to load the app. Then it's got to do two-factor authentication and blah, blah. By the time you've done all that garbage, you could have walked up to the car and just started it.
But I think you're making a fatal error.
Oh, okay.
You're assuming that people have common sense.
Ah.
This is the new car culture. They got to have the car started for them, cooled a little bit before they get in because, oh my God, I just can't right now. It's so hot. I just can't. I can't even with this right now.
First of all, younger generations, they all have their phones glued to their hands. So their phone is out anyway. They're already scrolling social media. They're already on TikTok and Instagram, posting their reels and clicking views and all that stuff and talking to their friends. And so their phone is already open. They don't need to two-factor authenticate because they did that when they woke up in the morning and they never put it down.
Well, that's a fair thing too, because you don't have a door lock cylinder on to open your car anymore. You don't need your key. It's just a fob. It's just a sensor that alerts in vicinity that you can unlock your doors and start your car. You're not putting that key anywhere. So if you have that key buried in your purse, a backpack, your pocket, but you have your phone glued to your hand, well, yeah, I can start my car and lock it with my phone. Why am I going to go dig through my pocket and pull my keys out?
So why even generate a key?
But today's car culture.
Yeah, why not just use the phone's NFC capabilities and open the door that way?
Because that's how it's going to charge you. It's like Apple Pay. So to open the door, it's 50 cents every time you tap your phone against the door handle.
You know what? I think Ford had it right when they had the little 2-digit keypads.
Yeah.
They were ahead of their time.
Like that guy in the first article, I don't want any of this stuff. I mean, I like remote start. I have it on my Jeep. I can be in my office and go boop, boop in the wintertime and it'll fire up and warm up. But, it's a diesel, so it needs extra time. Anyway, but I was thinking about what you were saying, Brad. If you can communicate with this Subaru from your phone and remote start, that means the Subaru has cellular access, right? So it's connected to the grid. To your point of earlier, all these new cars are all connected to the Internet of Things. And so I don't want any of that stuff. But it also makes sense why they would charge a subscription fee, because who's paying for the cellular access to the car? Because the remote key fob just sends an RF signal. There's an RF, receiver on the other side, and it goes, oh, I received the car start signal and I'll start it. It doesn't need all this other infrastructure, Verizon and T-Mobile and all this other crap to make it work. But I also wonder, for those that are addicted to their phones, if you're in the middle of Montana doing Subaru things like you're supposed to be doing, like the commercials say, how does one unlock and start their car when there's no cell service?
Then they get the special satellite cell subscription on their phone.
They have the satellite phone so they can start their car.
You gotta have Starlink to make it work.
You pull out the phone from Jurassic Park. Do, 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 do. What was the music it would do? As it was in the Tyrannosaurus Rex feces.
Oh my God. terrible. Well, Tanya, in spite of all this doom and gloom, you brought us an article that might shed a ray of hope. Car and Driver says, these are the cars worth waiting for, 2026 through 2030.
And is there anything on here that would be worth waiting for?
Okay, let's see how many of these we haven't already talked about. This is that weirdly Russian designed rendering of what the Stelvio could look like. This wasn't even like a thing from Alfa Romeo. I remember we dug this up and we fact checked this car. So that one's junk. This is that TT Nuvolari thing that we don't like. So I can wait forever as long as that doesn't get made. The new BMW M3 got revealed at Car Week. I'm sorry, it's ugly. It's the size of an M5. It's huge.
Well, it's also the IM3. Let's just be
it's got the electricalness in
sensitive to that.
The only thing I like on this is the wheels. That's it. I think the wheels are cool. Moving on. Silverado shouldn't be on this list. Nobody salivates over the next version of the Silverado.
They just don't want to be hit by them.
This Camaro goes back to the Camaro we talked about earlier, although it looks like it's ready for the next Transformers movie. Dodge Charger Hellcat V8. See, the V8's going to be the OEM Plus now. You're going to be stuck with a 6-cylinder, and then you're going to want the V8. I don't like those wheels on that. It looks terrible. Dodge Copperhead. I read about this. This is sort of the return of the Viper without being the return of the Viper, and Dodge wants to get into the pony wars. So if you look at the body styling, there was a Copperhead concept back when the second generation Viper came out. Actually, I have a model car of it. Pretty interesting, but I don't see that ever coming. I'm just going to skip over whatever that thing is. Then we got the Mustang Dark Horse, which already exists. So this is just another whatever. The Ranchero as a pickup truck.
Which is just a Maverick.
Which is just a Ranger. I mean, who wants a 4-cylinder turbo pickup truck? Forget that noise. All right, we got the Genesis GV90. This looks like something out of Batman the Animated Series. We have the Magma, the GV60 Magma, which is the Veloster rebadged. Then we have the Genesis Magma, which is never going to happen. This is that weird Lexus, the GR GT thing.
The successor to the LFA.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't think it looks good.
Infiniti, who cares? This one looks like the same Infiniti they've been making for 20 years. This Jaguar is horrendous. Jeep Wrangler Scrambler, okay, they had those in the 70s, the Scramblers. It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to salivate over it. Then they're going to do an LFA again? That looks better than this other GT thing up here. This thing looks terrible. Let's see. What else is on this list? CX-5, they ruined that. Mitsubishi doesn't make cars. Nissan, This is the Altima. Boxster, that's a lie because they said they're not going to make those. Nobody salivates a Ram. Dakota's come. Look at this thing.
I want to talk about the Scout because I would love one of those, but I don't want to gloss over the Rivian. I think the Rivian, I'm going to call it the Rex, the R3X. The Rivian Rex is definitely a car I'm looking forward to seeing and would totally consider owning one.
Never going to have. We talked about this car like a year ago, and now they're saying 2029.
This would be the most interesting thing on the list.
Correct. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Yes.
But the Scouts look cool too. They're like
okay. All right.
The Rivian.
Who owns Scout?
Volkswagen.
Is it Volkswagen? Oh, well, then these aren't going to get made. They're going to get scrapped.
Hold on. Let me do some general arithmetic for you, okay? They lost 100,000 people. They've closed factories all over the place. They're cutting half of the cars that they make, blah, 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 all this stuff. But basically, the toilet is swirling and the turds are going down the tube, right? The Scout requires a special factory to be built, unique tooling. It doesn't share anything with anything else. And they're going to move forward with this project, and they got to pay for Formula One. Let's not forget that. They have to pay for Formula One somehow. They're going to build these. And this is not something anybody is jumping up and down about, because look at it. There's nothing about it that stands out. I could go get a Rivian that looks like this.
No, the Traveler, the SUV, that looks like an old school Bronco.
Yeah, but that's my point. You substitute this for any other SUV that's currently available. Nobody's going to wait till 2030. It's going to be like the Cybertruck. We're going to be waiting for 10 years for these things. Nobody's going to wait that long for one of these. And then when they get them, they're going to be disappointed because they're going to be based on technology from 5 years ago because it took them 20 years to make them.
I'm going to double down on what I was saying about Maserati. So I think Maserati is a company that doesn't really need to exist anymore, and I'm surprised that it still does. I would say Mitsubishi is in that list as well.
Right.
There are also a slew of car manufacturers that have already died out that don't need to come back.
Yeah.
And personally, I think Scout is one of them. International, I guess, when they were owned by International, the International Scout. I also think I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from our three listeners for this. The DeLorean does not need to come back.
I think that is a pipe dream. I don't think that's happening anymore. That was already 4 years ago. So
But I think you get my point. Like
yeah.
there are things that die and they die for a reason and they need to stay dead.
Yeah, it's like saying we're going to bring back the Bricklin. It's like, no, we don't need to do that. There's no point.
No.
Talking about things that need to die and stay dead, as we switch into Lost and Found, Brad, your favorite section. I got some good Lost and Found for you guys this time. We sent one to the Lost. Yet again, it has returned to the deep. I just wanted to share with our audience, share with you. I don't know if you saw the pictures or not, but pumpkin spice latte, may it rest in peace, is gone. Bye-bye, Norma Jean. Do you want to sing Candle in the Wind? How good's your Elton John?
Goodbye, Norma Jean. Da, 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 da. We'll have to talk offline because I'm wondering where my exhaust and my turbo and like where's all my stuff?
In my shed.
It's OEM minus. This is the definition of OEM minus right here.
OEM negative Ghost Rider.
Yeah, we have all that stuff, Brad. Don't worry. We didn't leave you hanging.
Okay, it's wow.
Anything that didn't have mold on it got kept.
Okay.
That's that. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.
What was the other picture? The gas tank, was that?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
Okay.
that. We're gonna get. All right. So I got one for Tanya, Lost and Found. I don't know if she looked at this yet. Find of the day, one of a kind Audi A4 Ute sells at no reserve. Look at this thing. Look at this. Yeah.
The Audi Ranchero.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look how much mulch you could put in this thing.
I do need a mulch roller.
I thought you were going to buy the Amazon truck.
It's a 2-liter turbo, though, so you got to deal with that. So you might not be able to haul that much mulch. But it is a manual, though. It is a manual. Look at that.
How much did this sell for?
Bidding ended July 29th.
Sold for $7,300.
What?
That's
it?
More than I thought it would.
6-speed manual, all-wheel drive, Sonoma green. Yummy. This angle is the best, though. Look at this butt on this thing.
It is. Yeah.
Had this been in Australia, it would have sold for 7,300 Australian
Well, the problem is
dollars.
this wasn't made by Audi. This is somebody who took an A4 and
It's
then
a Smith conversion, like all the other ones are.
the back is terrible. It has no shape that goes with the rest of it.
Well, what shape does a pickup truck supposed to have?
I don't know more than
Look,
that.
it's even got a slidey out back window so you can get air, just like a Chevy S10. Look at that.
I mean, that's great. It's unfortunate. There's a reason why Audi's never made a pickup truck.
Well, they claimed they were going to. Remember, let's not forget, it couldn't even fit a pair of golf clubs. You get all the best things here, except for the 2-liter turbo. You get all-wheel drive, you get a manual, and you get a pickup truck. And it's an Audi. It's got that German engineering with American
That was completely
refinement.
ruined when they removed the back half of the car.
Is this OEM plus or minus? Like,
This is OEM's special school bus.
all right, Brad, I found one for you. I'm going to try to convince you. I don't think you're going to take the bait. Look at that.
Probably not for sale anymore.
2003 GTI VR6 in reflex silver with the 6-speed, $4,500 with a new, fresher engine, 120,000 miles on the engine and drivetrain.
I'm sure this car is going to make somebody very mildly happy for a time.
You wouldn't go back.
It's not for me.
GTI, especially with a VR6 in silver like Eddie. You'd stick with the Beetle.
I 100% would if I didn't already have the Beetle. But as I told you before, I actually have grown very fond of the Beetle. I actually really enjoy driving it. I like the way it makes me feel, and people can come at me in the comments. I don't give a shit. I really like the Beetle. I think GTIs, for me, they have a special place in my heart, but I'm on to something different.
Would you put a VR6 in the Beetle?
I would not put a VR6 in my current Beetle unless the motor blew up, because I could potentially buy a junked 2-liter Beetle and put a VR6 in that.
Nice. I mean, I love me some VR6, don't get me wrong. That's a super clean car with fat fives and everything. I mean, that's a nice ride right there.
I'm sure it made somebody very happy.
Nice ride. And speaking of good deals, we missed out. We could have gone to Mecum Harrisburg this month and picked up this beauty, a 1964 Studebaker Hawk GT for the low, low price of $2,200. And I got a quote from Andy Beckman from the Studebaker National Museum because I sent him this post and he said, "That's a hellacious bargain. I knew the guy whose estate that was from."
I mean, $2,200 is like nothing. I don't know anything about those.
Is that a convertible? What is that top? What is going on there? Is that like a skullet shaved in the front and party in the back? Like, what is going on with this roof?
Yeah, that two-tone effect.
It's wild. Like the door doesn't align properly with that roof, has to come off.
Nope, I don't think so.
I like the reverse rake too. It sits down like the back shocks are totally busted on it.
It's squatting.
Got the same nose as that Bugatti we talked about earlier. I mean, look at that thing. Studebaker, 64 Studebaker. Whopping 170 horsepower on a good day. Well, let's talk about seriously what could go wrong, formerly known as lowered expectations.
Lowered expectations.
I'm going to read the headline here. I can't believe this is actually a thing, but then again, I'm always suspicious of the dealerships. Dealer allegedly cannibalize customer's Kia to fix another.
That's wild.
Right?
It's wild.
I wonder how many times that has actually happened at a dealership. Why is it taking so long for my car to get fixed? Did they take a bunch of stuff off of it and put it on somebody else's car? You know what I mean? Like, or is this just a fluke?
That would incense me.
To never go to the dealership?
So I've always wondered why they couldn't do this with a car that was on their lot.
That makes more sense.
Doing it to somebody else's car, that's theft.
But is it also indicative of the fact that there's a supply chain problem? Like if you have to cannibalize another car off the lot, that means you can't get the parts in a reasonable amount of time, right?
But I'm sorry, is it a supply chain issue or is it a shitty sequencing issue of your dealership? This woman came in for a tire blowout, had nothing to do with her engine. That should have been like an hour fix. Also, why she took it to a dealer, she should have taken it to a tire shop to have a tire replaced, but we'll leave that aside. She should have been in and out. If you had some other car there that you're backed up and you have that person bitching at you that their car's not done, that's not this lady's problem.
Yeah.
This is theft. I think she can file not just a lawsuit, but she can call the police and file a police report for this because it's theft.
Vandalism, right?
No, it's theft. That they took something off her car to give to somebody else. They took her
But
property.
then they replaced it, didn't they, later?
Did they?
But
I don't
here's the
know.
problem. They're dismantling her engine. God knows what other things they took off of it. And the next thing you know, she's driving down the road, has some other issue. Who does she get to go blame? What, if you don't know that somebody messed?
Right. And then they're like, oh, you're out of warranty, so we can't cover it, blah, 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 even though they're the ones that broke the part in the first place.
Even worse, you go in for the tire change. They do all this tomfoolery. They do fuck something up, so you have to come back for a bigger repair. Fraud!
This next one. Do you guys watch this? This goes back to what we were talking about car culture. And this sort of just bookended it for me. First of all, I want to know what the word John means. And I'm not talking John or Jon. What is Jawn? And I assume it's pronounced like yawn because Hooked on Phonics worked for me. So what is John?
I had to wait to see what the spelling of John was.
Jawn.
So according to Urban Dictionary,
we've had to use that a lot tonight.
There's a definition that goes all the way back to 2003. A word used by Philly cats to describe anything and everything.
So nothing and everything at the same time.
And a more recent 2012 definition also terms as a Philly slang for a person, place, or thing. I can't find that John anywhere. Do you see that movie? That John was horrible. Yeah, I got that same John from Macy's.
So it's like joint or junk and all that stuff from back in the 90s, right? It's like the
yes,
same
because
thing.
The other definition does say that the New York cats, ooh, we're talking cats. The New York folk interject with the word joint.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite convey the same feelings as John.
But I wouldn't be surprised if because it's social media, you know that there are words that they can't say because they'll get flagged by the algorithm. So they can't say suicide. You can't say killing. They probably can't say joint because of drug affiliation.
Right.
And now that I've said those words, they'll probably get us canceled. So
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Doesn't matter.
yeah, who cares?
It's all John anyway.
I'm going to go down to VIR and watch all that John going on.
Did you guys see this video? This is OEM Plus right here. And Brad, I also found this and I put it in here because you were going to do a wiper delete on pumpkin spice.
I did one on the Mark V.
Yeah, but you didn't do it like these guys did it.
Yeah, I did. I did it on my R32. I mean, I
Yeah,
haven't
but you
watched this
didn't
full
do it
video.
like these guys did it with some Home Depot stuff that they had to put on a grinding wheel.
Oh, no, 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 no. I actually bought the correct part. So he shatters his rear glass.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I think my favorite line, despite all the John, was he grinds this part to go put it on there to put on the delete, which probably wasn't even for this car. And he's like, flush as a toilet. And I'm like, skibbity. I mean, he just shatters that glass.
But also, I'm sorry, don't they sell rear wiper delete kits?
Yes, from ECS for like $20. Like, come on.
They probably are super easy to install and don't have this happen.
Designed for the car, for the glass.
Okay, all right.
I mean, this is literally the definition of square peg, round hole.
I like the one guy that comments, I used a black smooth plastic plug from Lowe's. A little bit of silicone and it was flush and black like the tint.
Yeah, and he probably spent the same amount as had he ordered the part from ECS, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh my God. It's because you use the John to tighten the John onto the John. Next time you use a John instead of the John, you won't John.
There it is. This is why the comments are the best.
It's like Smurf.
All right. Well, we basically covered rich people things earlier, but we do have 2 extra value meal options here. And I want to bring up something that's definitely going to end up on our Christmas list because, you know, it kind of is rich people things in the sense that if you have enough of these that you need a special storage unit for them, then you might be doing some rich people things. I stumbled across, if this isn't fake, Tex racks, TEX racks, and they're specifically these like racks designed for your 1/64th scale Hot Wheels, Matchbox, etc. I think these are super cool. They might be a little janky. I want to get one, but I don't know if I trust the website. This is where I've reached in my life. If I can't buy it on Amazon, then it's not legitimate. Or if the manufacturer doesn't have a store on Amazon, they're not legit because Amazon legitimizes all of their sellers, or at least they try to. Same with Walmart. So I'm like, I don't know. But if somebody is willing to buy a Tex rack, and then let me know.
These Johns be janky.
That's what I'm thinking. But I like the idea.
Why are they so expensive too? They're cloth. Did you watch the video of the woman putting the stuff in place?
I did. And that's why I'm like, how janky are these? But here's the other thing. You look at this plastic and you know this plastic. This is the plastic that is like an Oreo container. You know how thin the Oreo containers are? They almost crumple like a paper bag. Like I'm feeling like this is the type of plastic that they're using here.
I feel like you go to Target, you buy one of those fabric closet hanger wardrobes.
Yes.
And you make one yourself. Well, I paid $200 for one.
For the plastic shelves, that's what you're paying for. If they don't
Just
fall
you just
out of
eat
this
a bunch of Oreos.
Yeah,
And
100%.
then you
Right?
use that.
Speaking of Subaru earlier, you know, Lego has its Icon series and they have a bunch of different stuff that is actually created by people that are like over on Rubricable, and they'll post them up on Lego's website. And if it gets enough interest and enough votes, then Lego will take the design, look it over, Lego-fy it to make it easier and all that kind of stuff, you know, less rare parts and less unsanctioned building techniques, those kinds of things. But up on the docket, along with, you know, we've seen in the past the Ayrton Senna, the Nigel Mansell, and the Michael Schumacher racing set, somebody put together a Colin McRae Subaru Rally set. This opens a door for a lot of things because they did already have the Audi rally car a while ago, but I think this is super cool. Like, I'd like to see this get made. So go out to lego.com and go vote for it. Right, Tanya?
Yeah.
I love the rally stage pit stop thing where you can take the car apart and set it up that way. I think that's really slick. It's got a couple different ways you can position the car. Well, we have reached that part of the episode where we're going to go down south, Florida.
We're really going to go north to New Jersey.
So I found this first one.
It's brilliant.
Dad used to always say you got to watch out for Roscoe and Buford hanging out in the bushes. I mean, this takes it to a whole new level. Cop dressed as a shrub. Just looking at him. I mean, he looks like something out of Sesame Street.
He looks like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, but it's the binoculars. It makes him, but he's scruffy like Snuffleupagus. Maybe it's George Russell in that suit. But anyway, cop dressed as a shrub wrote 74 tickets in 6 hours.
And this wasn't for speeding people. This was to catch people distracted driving on their cell phones, doom scrolling while they're driving. So I do not feel sorry for any of these 74 people.
But in order to catch these folks, you're dressed as a bush. Do you walk out into the middle of the
No.
road?
So this was a coordinated effort amongst many officers. So he would radio down to somebody else. And then further down the road, there was a group of officers that then were pulling the cars over.
Because I was going to say, if you're trying to catch distracted drivers and you're dressed as a bush, there's a high probability you're going to get hit. But that is clever. He blends in. I mean, if you are not paying attention, you will not see him, despite the fact that that is not a color found in nature.
Well, some places in nature, but not in New Jersey.
All right. What's this one about, Tanya?
I mean, this is pretty bad. You just got to take the time to watch the video.
It's only a minute.
But observe what's happened.
Did he just stop in the middle of the road?
This person just stopped.
Why?
On a highway.
On
an interstate.
That semi truck almost took the three of them out. Jeez Louise, nobody's paying attention. There
Boom.
it is. There it is.
And then watch. Just leaves.
Wow.
That was a close call, too.
And now they've got a car legitimately in the middle of the road because he got clobbered by the van.
Dead in the water.
Oh, the tow truck's right there, but he's like, nah, dog. He's like, nah, John. I ain't picking you up.
I ain't got time for that, John.
That's terrible.
This happened in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And apparently they're asking people to stop doing this. So this is not the first time, apparently, kind of
What?
in the Ohio area. There were 2 other incidents on a different interstate where people apparently were just stopping. Begs the question, are you trying to cause an accident?
I think they are. They have to be.
Like, is this the new TikTok game that I'm just going to stop on a highway and see what carnage can happen?
I mean, if Tide Pods won't kill you, this definitely will.
Like, what excuse do you have if you're lost? You pull over, you don't stop on a highway where presumably the speed limit at a minimum was 55. So you know people are going more than that.
Somebody did this to me earlier today on my way home from the grocery store. Speed limit's 45, and they came to a complete stop at a green light.
What?
It wasn't like the light had just turned green. The light was literally green the whole time. I could see it from like way back. And the car literally was just driving up and came to a complete stop in the lane I was in.
Are you sure it was green? Because, green and red, colorblind, it might have been red.
It was green to me, and I'm not colorblind. It wasn't like the gold and white or the blue and black dress. It was green. The freaking light was green.
So you say, allegedly. What color is the stop sign again?
The stop sign is purple.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Like your face after I hit you with one.
All right. Well, we are going to Florida now, aren't we, Tanya?
We do have a Florida one, and this one's not that you should be doing illegal street racing, but check your mirrors before you do so that the cop isn't filming you from behind.
No. Oh my God.
So that when you go $120, he's not already right there ready to pull you over because he was behind you.
I mean, and they all drive Ford Explorers now too, so it's not like they're super obvious or whatever.
The drivers didn't recognize the SUV as a police vehicle.
Was he dressed as a bush or a shrub?
I mean, maybe.
How about you just don't do this? Like
Also,
or don't do it when there's cars around, at least.
Because it's the excitement of the street racing glorified by Fast and the Furious. If you have to make the time to go to the drag strip, it's not as exciting. It's not as impulsive as it is when you do it on the road and basically endanger all the civilians around you. Because it's not like when we were growing up and there was a lot less traffic on the road, but still go to the track. Then you can really show off how OEM negative you are. No video though. That sucks.
no.
Also, I'm just going to say hashtag roof rails. You want to spot a police interceptor explorer? They don't have roof rails. Dun, dun, dun. Let's go behind the pit wall. Talk about motorsports news. I have an update. NASCAR adjacent news. Ready for this?
Oh my God, you're following this more than I am.
It's like Formula One. If I don't stay in lockstep with this, then you're just going to give me a bunch of flack that, I didn't know because I wasn't paying attention or whatever. So I'm paying attention. Days of Thunder 2. I'm going to put alleged, in air quotes, alleged plot points according to the Instagrams. I read that Cole Trickle is now a team owner and he is faced with the most challenging season yet for his team because his rival team is using AI and analytics to win with a perfect race, and he doesn't believe in that, and he's got to drive by feel. So rather than supporting his younger drivers that drive for him on his NASCAR team, oh no, Tom Cruise, Mr. Mission Impossible, Cole Trickle, gonna jump back in to a NASCAR and show all these young whippersnappers how it's done old school and win a championship. That is allegedly the plot of Days of Thunder 2. Are you still gonna watch it?
Yes.
Can I just say,
Go for it.
I've seen this movie before
Oh, really?
with this exact plot. It's called
F1.
Cars 3.
That was the first thing I thought of, actually.
Where Lightning McQueen is out there having a good old time with his buddies, and then the new Jackson Storm comes up with all the analytics and checking his tire pressures and everything, and he's so much faster. He's going 201, 202, 203 miles an hour, and Lightning McQueen doubles down on the boomerness. He goes back to Doc's roots and starts trying to race on the street, on the sand, on the dirt, and he goes to the beach, and he goes to the hollow and loses a destruction derby, and he finds Smokey, Doc's old coach.
Got it.
So if it's going to follow the plot of Cars 3, then Cole Trickle is not going to be successful in his endeavors, and he is going to have to mentor a junior driver to win.
This is Tom Cruise. He doesn't lose at anything. Tom Cruise doesn't lose anything.
Tanya brings up a great point. So yes, if they follow the Cars 3 formula, then she's right. Tom Cruise / Lightning McQueen finds out that he's not fast enough, even with the old tricks. So he tags in his new female driver, because Cruise was played by a female character, a female voiceover. So I'm making the assumption that she's female. She's non-binary because she's a car, but I'm making the assumption that she's female. I have to tag in a female driver to win it all, and they're going to beat Jackson Storm.
There you go. Boom. Days of
But
Thunder
this
2.
is also the plot of the F1 movie, where
Yes.
ancient 100-year-old Brad Pitt comes to show the young ones how it's really done and drive it old school.
Yes, it's Formula One with NASCARs. It's going to be terrible, and you're still going to watch it.
Because old culture is always better than new culture. Right, Eric?
Is that like the previous Subaru is less ugly than the current Subaru when you compare them? Is that we're going back to that?
This is old car culture is better than new car culture.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean was the theme of the episode, right?
Exactly.
That's exactly where we were.
And it all comes together.
Way to pull that thread.
Well done, sir. Well done. In other news, there is allegedly a America 250 race.
It's this weekend. You haven't
Uh-huh.
not missed it yet. It's on Sunday. I think practice, qualifying, whatever, is probably Saturday. But please do watch this video with the sound so you can hear Alex Palou taking a virtual ride around, or at least read what he's saying. This is going to be the lamest race where every corner is second gear, which we already know from the track map because it's straight 90-degree turn, straight 90-degree turn, straight 90-degree turn. We're done. But wait till the end, because if this is truly what that looks like, there's going to be a massive wreck
Yeah,
at pit lane.
terrible.
You come into a 90-degree turn and then boom, there's a wall that you have to split immediately. Go into pit or don't go into pit. I'm like, that's wild.
Aside from the fact that this is obviously on iRacing and it's, a simulation. See, this is what iRacing gets wrong. You know what's missing here?
Pedestrians.
Well, all the blown water mains, the potholes, the metro buses abandoned on the side of the road. Like, this doesn't look like DC. This could be anywhere. This road is too smooth. This is not what they're going to actually be racing on because they're not going to pave anything. They haven't spent any time doing it. This looks like garbage. This is worse than Long Beach. This is worse than St. Pete. This is worse than any. Look at that thing at the end.
That turn is so dangerous to me. I'll be interested to see how that actually
That's
looks
awful.
in real life.
I'm glad I'm going in the opposite direction that weekend.
Me too.
That's all I got to say. All right. Well, our motorsports news is brought to you in part by Enduroverse, powered by HyperDev, America's premier endurance racing community. And be sure to check it out online, where you can now join as a free member under the Explorer program, and that's free forever. So be sure to check it out online and become a member at enduraverse.com. Well, let's wrap up this episode with a quick trackside report. You asked Brad about that gas tank earlier. We found the problem.
It's a Ford.
Well, yeah, that, yes, is part number one. But we might actually have a running car now. Long story short, after diagnosing all this stuff, replace this, change the sensor, do the thing, all the things we talked about the last time, we got down to the point where we traced it to 2 remaining sensors that were tied to the ECU that were giving this electrical fault that we had. But where, oh where, would Ford put the sensors? Above the gas tank, up against the bulkhead, which requires you to drop the gas tank to replace said sensors. Took us a little bit to get the sensors because they had to be ordered and shipped and came from Lord knows where because nobody has anything anymore. It's all just-in-time inventory. So put the sensors in, put it all back together, put the gas tank back up, make sure it didn't leak, blah, 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 blah. And then what happened, Tanya?
Then it ran.
And how did it run?
As it should.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. After all that time and all that.
Yay!
And that was the first time Tanya drove it more than, I don't know, like 10 feet. So what do we think?
I mean, it's not going to win any land speed records, but it'll be a perfectly good momentum car.
She did a one-wheel peel.
Compare it to a Mark IV Volkswagen, the driving experience.
I don't know, because
You've driven a almost fully track prepared Mark IV, and you've driven now a track prepared Focus.
arguably this isn't a track prepared
No,
car,
I
right?
wouldn't. This is like a stage 1
Suspension
car.
wise, like they're going to be night and day.
Well, true.
And I mean, just driving it up the street, accelerating it, I don't know.
It makes a whole bunch of noise, especially from the airbox.
I like noise.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that means we just got to hurry up and wait now. There's really nothing left to do other than just get our registration intact, get our tech forms. We were at the starting line the last time we tried to do this. So what's next for the car? It's sitting, it's waiting. It's, we go out and start it and move it a little bit just to make sure it's okay. And Summit Point, October. And then if we can survive Summit Point, I am going to try to stretch my wings a little bit. I want to go to Road Atlanta in December. So hopefully we'll get 2 races out of it this year. If not, we'll get 1 race out of it next year. And we plan for starting next season in Mid-Ohio and trying to do some of the races we didn't get to do this year. But we're back on target. And unfortunately, after all these false starts, we'll be celebrating a year of this project from when we said we were going to do it by starting at Summit Point, because that's when we went last year to kind of scope things out and do recon. Sucks that we didn't get a little bit more experience. And then I am on the reserve list with the Studebaker team for the Gingerman race, but all of their drivers are committed. So they said, unless somebody bows out, they don't want to do the penalty thing where you take an extra driver and then like the max is 4 or something they were saying. So I was like, that's fine. So they got me on standby, and then they were talking about potentially doing Road America, which not everybody wants to do. And even in a slow car, I think Road America would be a blast and be able to check that off my list. So hopefully some more endurance racing action. This year's sort of a meh, but maybe next year we can really get into it. Looking forward to it. And then you're out of commission too, right, Brad?
Yep. On September 9th, I'll have my surgery, and then I will come out to support the team in October at Summit Point, but I will be virtually useless with the broken wing. So
what's the heal time on that?
I'll be in a sling for 6 weeks, and then I can resume somewhat normal activity without any lifting or anything like that. And then 4 months.
Oh.
And then 4 months to kind of start doing light lifting. And then 6 months, I should be kind of almost back to normal.
Wow. So New Jersey next year, right?
I'm definitely planning on racing next year.
Very good. Very good.
Speaking about the track now, if you're not quite ready to hit the track, don't forget that you can find tons of upcoming local shows and events at the ultimate reference for car enthusiasts, carcollectorguide.net.
If you're hearing us for the first time, be sure to jump back into our podcast catalog and check out other programs we offer, like the Ferrari Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Voices of Endurance, Automotive History Live, the Racers Roundtable, Formula Fanatics, Break Fix, and of course, the Drive Thru.
And if you enjoy our various podcasts, there's a great way for you to support our creators on the MPN. There's tons of extras and bonuses to explore on our updated Patreon page. Learn more about our bonus and behind-the-scenes content, get early access to upcoming episodes, or support our 24 Hours of Lemons team when you consider becoming a Break Fix VIP by visiting patreon.com/GT Motorsports. And as always, thank you to our co-host and executive producer, mechanic and driver and
Team principal.
Yes, Tanya, and to all the fans, friends, and family who support Grand Touring Motorsports, as well as the Motoring Podcast Network. Without you, none of this would be possible. Outro.
Because we're old now.
Sorry.
Sorry. What is this sorry stuff?
I didn't realize you guys were on time waiting for me. Tanya's usually got technical issues. You don't have a life, so you're just sitting there doing a whole bunch of nothing.
Hey now.
You remember, we don't do the intro anymore. We don't do the welcome to the Drive Thru. This is number blah 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 blah, where we talk about car adjacent automotive news. Drive Thru window number 71. Anyway.
I do things for the betterment of the automotive enthusiast community. That's what I do.
Yep. AKA nothing.
You know, we could only all be so fortunate.
I gotta look at it again. I don't think I have access to it anymore, actually.
Yeah, I gotta subscribe, which I'm not going to do.
Can't get to the rest of the article either, so you're gonna have to jog it from memory here. You got bamboozled by the Mazdas on the screen. That's what it was.
I swear I thought she had a sound machine and she pushed a button and it was like Hartman or something. I was like, what the? Everybody say hi to Catherine.
Yeah, Brad has
Can't really see you.
Hi. Sorry about that.
No worries.
That's Louie too.
Nice.
Whoops.
Go for it.
Some other stuff there that's really good.
What you got? What you got?
No. Not for this podcast.
Not safe for podcasts. NSFP.
That's our next segment, the more politically focused segment.
Yeah.
Where I put my tinfoil hat on and talk about the government's trying to control us all, and Tanya makes fun of Trump.
There you go.
The Drive Thru is our monthly news episode and is sponsored in part by organizations like CollectorCarGuide.net, Project Motoring, Garage Style Magazine, the Exotic Car Marketplace, and many others. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor of the Drive Thru, look no further than www.motoringpodcast.net. Click About and then Advertising. Thank you again to everyone that supports the Motoring Podcast Network, Grand Touring Motorsports, our podcast Break Fix, and all the other services we provide.